In a changing world characterized by uncertainties, geopolitical tensions, and social setbacks, diversity remains a key issue, also and especially at Siemens Switzerland. In the latest podcast episode, Gerd Scheller, country CEO Siemens Switzerland, and Esther Kupferschmied, diversity co-officer, talk about how Siemens is positioning itself and why attitude is more important today than ever. For Esther, one thing is clear. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a trend at Siemens, but an integral part of the corporate culture. Precisely because many companies are scaling back or discontinuing their DEI initiatives, it is all the more important for Siemens to consciously keep at it. They don't want to rest on their laurels, but actively develop further. A lot has happened since the last meeting. The community has grown and is working on 5 key topics, namely gender equity, people with disabilities, LGBTQIA, mental health, and inclusive diversity. These work streams are consistently geared towards the world of work and employees' everyday lives. Close networking with other internal departments, such as vocational training, EHS, business partners, and initiatives such as the Women's Network, is particularly important. Gerd Scheller makes it clear that a clear course is needed right now. He warns against abandoning ethical principles just because the wind is changing. On the contrary, when headwinds arise, values must be lived all the more clearly. In his words, living values when everyone is applauding is easy. The decisive factor is whether you also defend them when things get uncomfortable. It is not about being extreme or lecturing, but being clear and reliable, for society, but also for business. His participation in the Advance campaign, Not Your Trendy CEO, was therefore also a conscious signal, now more than ever. In response to international tendencies to weaken or even abolish diversity, he wanted to take a stand, both personally and as a company. For both of them, diversity is not an end in itself, but a strength in action. Different perspectives lead to better ideas, greater cohesion, and more innovation. People who feel comfortable and seen in their working environment are more committed, productive, and creative. Gerd puts it in a nutshell. If I only want to hear my own opinion, I don't need meetings. For him, open exchange, tolerating differences, and learning from each other are the growth mindset in action. At the same time, diversity needs a cultural context. Not every form of diversity is the same everywhere. And that's okay. It is important that every country and every organization defines for itself what diversity means in the respective environment and how it is actually lived. For Gerd, there is one clear boundary that must apply everywhere: human rights. These form the basis on which cultural diversity is even possible. And if you had to attribute a superpower to diversity? For Esther, it would be human intelligence. Especially in the age of artificial intelligence, empathy, humanity, and social skills are all the more important. Not just in our dealings with one another, but as a conscious decision to take a common path. The episode ends with a strong joint appeal. Diversity does not have to be constantly justified. If you are convinced that something is right, ethically, humanly, and entrepreneurially, then you can stand by it. Siemens Switzerland does exactly that. Not as a reaction, but out of conviction. At a time when it would be easier to adapt to the zeitgeist, a conscious decision has been made to take a stand. And this is not just a signal to the outside world, but a clear promise to the inside.